Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Matt and Rick. It's the Week 10 review, Week 11 preview show for the Frank and Beans Fantasy League. Real quick, just give me your league dues. Haven't gotten any from anybody yet, so get me your league dues soon.
Well, that's not true because you did get them from a few people.
A few people, but some people still owe me, so get them to me soon. That would be much appreciated. So, Matt, I was actually thinking, now that we're...
Actually, get them to me soon because I will be taking them.
So, we've been doing this podcast for a while, so I think we actually need a name for the studio that we do it in. So I think the league should start emailing names for our studio.
Oh, man, I don't know if we want that.
So get us your names for our studio or names for a podcast, whatever you guys want to do, and we'll welcome all suggestions. In other league news, we never talk about waivers, but let's talk about one move that actually happened this week. Fresh Legs blew his entire fab money this week.
Yeah, I saw that, and I had a question too. I thought double tight end set spent all their money too.
No, they were just
actually
down.
Didn't. So
yeah,
I don't. What's going on? I don't understand.
Well, they were just dwindling down in funds.
Oh,
and
so
wanted
they were
to
just
know,
questioning
it.
Okay.
Right, exactly.
Because I thought they were out of funds the way
No.
the talks were going.
No, they were just starting to run out of money and wanted to know why zero bids weren't allowed. But so Tommy blows all his money, and now he's got the Seahawks deal on bye next week, which I love because I play Tommy next week. So anybody in the league, don't trade anything to Fresh Legs, and I don't know why anybody really would, because if everybody's still technically in the playoff race, why would you want to make that team better when you can jump them in the playoff stands?
I don't have a defense to give them.
Right. So
I just, I don't know. Whatever.
So would you equate that move with Chris Webber calling a timeout in the championship game against North Carolina?
Maybe a little bit, but I mean, it might be a little more pressure on Chris Webber at that point.
So that's the situation with Fresh Legs. Out of money and no defense for next week. So nobody make a trade and help me out. All right, let's get to the games. First game out was ABC against me, and I lost.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Vincent Jackson, C.J. Spiller, just not a good game at all. I had Gronk on bye, but ABC takes it to me, and it's the same old record every week. It's
Riley Cooper all of a sudden becoming a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, 3 catches, 2 touchdowns. That's not bad.
And then I mean, you got your basic 45 out of Peyton, which is
right.
That's a given any Sunday.
Yeah. So I mean, he beats me, and he stays basically as the number 1 seed. Based on everything else that happened this week.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers really didn't have the game that I was expecting, and that was it. I mean, Vincent Jackson's just feast or famine. It's either 30 or it's 6 points. So I don't know what's going on with Vincent Jackson, but congrats.
You know what? Like watching a game, like there were several passes to Vincent Jackson that he looked like he was like high or something. Like he wasn't even in the game. Like that. Did you see the one deep pass that he didn't even turn? He didn't even turn around. And then the other pass, he did like a 15-yard like cut to the sideline. The ball was thrown bad, but it wasn't thrown that bad where Vincent Jackson couldn't have turned around. It almost looked to me if Vincent Jackson just let him have the interception.
Yeah.
Because even after the dude caught the ball.
He just stood there?
He just kind of stood there and looked at the guy running. He looked like he was out of it for some reason.
Yeah. I do get Percy Harvin back this week. So
you do. I mean,
I'm going to wait and see. He's got a bye in week 12.
Right.
And then
they're not saying he's playing yet though.
Right.
Just because he's practicing, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, he was activated off the PUP list. So
I mean, I don't think you can stick him in there this week.
Not yet. Maybe week 13. So.
It might be a good.
So congrats to the ABC.
Playoff spot,
After all the shit talking, he gets the win, and nothing else I can really say about that. Your game against Just Shoot Me. Just Shoot Me is
another lucky win for me. I'm not going to say lucky, but not a high scoring game for me. And I just played against a guy that was hurting.
The logo says everything.
Yeah.
I mean, if it wasn't for Foles and Pierre Thomas, it would have been back-to-back horrible weeks. But Foles and Thomas gave him a chance. He just got no production from anybody else.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty much sums it up.
The problem with Decker is that there's so many options. Decker has now become the fourth option in that offense.
Right.
Behind Thomas, and Welker. And even Welker didn't have a great game this week. Everything went to the Thomas twins.
Mm-hmm.
So, just shoot me just quickly falling out of the playoff race here. But not out of it yet. Let's talk about RG3 here for a second. RG3 is finally coming around.
He looked good.
Finally coming around.
He looked good last week.
Is that back-to-back weeks for him? With over 30?
No, he had.
No, he had 18 against San Diego.
His first three games of the season were decent games. Then he kind of fell off a little bit.
And then he came back, and then he fell off, and now he's picking it back up again.
Hopefully this momentum carries him forward.
Well, he gets the Eagles this week, right?
Which they have a horrible pass defense.
So hopefully it works out for RG3 this week.
Yeah.
Dos Fecas against Fresh Legs. Sunday night all over again.
I could feel I was about to call the cops to do a well-being check on Chris.
He had been drinking since like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so.
Yeah, that's kicking balls. 2 weeks in a row, fantasy nightmares. Drew Brees putting up 55. Sproles, who puts up 10 points every
goes off for 28.
Every game goes off for 28.
Gets a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown.
And then we got the all-classic Terrence Williams, one reception, one touchdown.
And that's all you needed.
That's all you needed.
And that's all you needed. Dos Fecas has really fallen off the map here. I think it's like 3 or 4 losses in a row.
Dez Bryant just killed him. I don't know what's going on in Dallas. Why they're not force-feeding Dez Bryant the ball is beyond
I think you have to. But Welker had a bad game. Fitzgerald had a bad game. So it all just pretty much snowballed pretty quick here for Dos Fecas. If he could have built any kind of
17 out of his kicker, and he can't get a win.
He can't get him. His kicker outscored more than half his team.
I know.
So
I don't know. Dos Fecas was a force in the beginning of the year. Is he still a force?
No. And all that talk about Kaepernick,
especially with Rodgers.
Kaepernick on the bench
out. Rodgers out, kills Nelson.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody thought Kaepernick was going to have this fantastic year.
He's like such a hit and miss.
He had 7 points in this league.
7 points. Frank, he had 91 passing yards. It's funny because I actually was going through the game, the news that pops up on your site, and it said Frank Gore. Frank Gore was the entire 49ers offense.
Yeah, well, it was clearly evident that Kaepernick had nothing to do with that game. I just don't know. I know he's starting them this week, but Dos Fecas is hurting right now, and Fresh Legs after the trade is rolling. After 1-4, he gets to 5-5.
He was rolling before the trade.
Yeah.
But now he's just even rolling even more, and I face him this week. Good news for me, Zach Stacy's on bye. And
Zach Stacy continues just to put up numbers every week.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see.
Grudge match game, double tight end set against Hammer Down. This just wasn't a win. This was a big win. This is a 63-point win here.
Well, I mean, it pretty much seals the deal on Hammer Down.
Yeah, he's now 3-7. Technically, he's still not eliminated, but he needs to win out and get a ton of help along the way. Right. Like, he needs teams like you and ABC to keep winning to knock these other teams off.
He's just not getting any production. I mean,
no. There's just no production from the other side other than Andre Brown last week. I mean, he trades for Cam, hoping that Cam maybe ignites the rest of his season.
I mean, the trade now is starting. And if Kev doesn't make that trade last week, he wins.
Right. That's
no doubt about it.
Just do the numbers. Cam Rice, no action.
I mean,
Ray Rice.
I'm thinking about it now. I mean, you trade away your number 1 draft pick. I know he was having his team's having problems, obviously, and it sounded like a good move at the time. But now that I think about it, it's like, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If he holds firm, it's a completely different story. He's 4-6 and one game out of the playoffs. Yeah. But now he just needs to win out and get a lot of help. So.
But this Julian Thomas got that 77-yard receiving touchdown.
Right off the bat on like the third play.
It's like, Jesus Christ, you know?
Yeah, double tight end set. I remember in the beginning of the year we were talking about this team was going to be a force, and then they kind of fell off. They went on a little bit of a losing streak, and here they are again, ready to pick it up again. Just getting production up and down that lineup.
If you got a big win like that, even when Tony Romo only has 13 points.
Right. I mean, well, he did have that monster Thursday night. Peterson, Garcon.
Oh, yeah.
And who was the other one? Who else did he have?
He was up 72.
And Alfred Morris, yeah. So he had a monster Thursday night, which gave him a big cushion and pretty much just coasted to the win. And is that effectively it for Hammer Down? This will be the first year he's never made the playoffs.
I mean, I'm not going to ever count anybody out, but I mean, we're getting to crunch time, so it kind of looks like it might be.
Yeah. So. And the final game was El Canudo against Taking You to the Fleeners. It was actually a pretty tight game. 146 to 137. El Canudo had a chance on Monday Night Football because the Fleeners lost Mike James on that first drive, and they had the Dolphins D.
That's a real shame for him because he was looking really good.
Yeah, he was playing really well. El Canudo definitely had a chance because
one defensive touchdown.
And actually, on the interception, they ran it all the way back to about, I believe it was like the 10 or the 8.
I was sitting in my basement. I'm like, oh my God, Rick's probably going nuts right now.
Yeah, because I definitely could have used the El Canudo win, but Fleeners just continues to pile up the wins here. Now 6-4 and at the top of the division.
Yep.
Eddie Lacy with a steady game. Andre Johnson, with Andre Johnson, it's all about Case Keenum. Case Keenum is doing what he should be doing, and that's force-feeding Andre Johnson the ball. Yep. Maybe Tony Romo should take a page from Case Keenum.
Guess maybe get Des Bryant a couple touches, maybe.
Yeah. And that was pretty much the week. You have anything else to add about this game?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Tony G. I mean, Tony Gonzalez, it should be Tony Golan because he's done. It's over. Now that the Falcons have really tanked,
what I read today, there's only like 2 tight ends that are averaging more than like 7 points a game, or 3 maybe. It's, Thomas, Gronk, and Graham.
Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, and everybody. If you don't have one of them, then you're kind of hoping for touchdowns. That's basically what the article was. You need at least one touchdown.
Yeah, you look at Tony Gonzalez's numbers. He's got 1, 2, 3. He's got 5 weeks under 8 points.
So I'll tell you what, he had a big week 4, though.
He had a huge week 4 against New England, but other than that, it hasn't been that good for Tony Gonzalez. So, but El Canudo's still in the race.
It's probably better than most tight ends.
Okay.
El Canudo's still in the race.
Still in the race. So with that, let's take a look at those.
It's pretty much still up in the air.
Look at
one win separates me and ABC. One win separates you and
Fleeners.
Yeah,
so I mean,
it's starting to shape up a little bit.
So if you look,
I think we can guarantee
you and ABC are in the playoffs,
right?
And Fleeners most likely at 6-4, and then all the teams at 5-5 are still fighting because there's 3 teams right behind them at 4-6.
How many weeks do we have left here?
We got 3 weeks left.
So,
right.
I mean,
so effectively, if anybody's at 5-5, if you go 2-1, you're probably in.
Right,
you're probably in because you would need one of the teams, either Dos Fecas, El Canudo, or Just Shoot Me, to go 3-0.
Yeah.
And then if you're hammered down, like we talked about before, he needs 3 in a row, and then he needs everybody in front of him just to basically start piling up the losses. He needs those 3 teams in front of him to go on maybe just lose 2 games. And I mean, it can happen, but it's very, very, very unlikely. So if the season ended today, ABC gets the bye, the Fleeners get the bye. I would actually play you in the 3-6 matchup, and then double tight end set would play fresh legs. But of course, this is all this is all just if the season ended today.
Well, next week could change everything.
Right, right. 1 week. I mean, I think the Fleeners will hold on to the spot, even if they lose and I were to win, because they hold the tiebreaker on points. So even if the Fleeners lose this week, they're still going to be the 2 based on the tiebreaker, and then it would be basically a 2-week race for the 2 seed.
Unless you post monster numbers, you're only down what?
I'm down like 70.
70.
So I would.
If you post a monster game,
I would need I would need a monster game and them to basically take the week off.
Right. That's why I mean, well, Blackcrackers is up like.
Yeah, he's got 1760, and you got 1560.
1587.
Or 1587.
So he's almost up 200 points on me. So
yeah, so most likely you're not going to catch him. You would need 3 weeks.
Right. I need
in
him
a
to
row.
lose, and I need to win.
Right. So, all right. So, I mean, that pretty much sums up the playoff race right there. So, the 7, 8, and 9 at 4 and 6 are pretty much going into must-win games here, going into Week 11. So, with that being said, let's take a look at Week 11. And then the first game up, it's brother versus brother.
Oh.
Dos Fekkas against Optimus Stein.
The lesser versus the greater.
So, I'm 5 and 5. Dos Fekkas is 4 and 6. It's a must win for Dos Fekkas.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You go 4 and 7. The best you can finish then is 6 and 7, and then you're pretty much hoping to get in on tiebreakers. So this is a huge game, and it's a tight one based on the projections.
Both of you need a win here.
Yeah. For me, I'm basically between my biggest decision this week is whether I'm going to start Tom Brady or Phillip Rivers. Rivers against Miami, or Brady against the very vaunted defense of Carolina. Right now, I'm leaning towards Brady just because Rivers
I personally put Brady back in the game. So
Yeah.
with all his receivers back now,
yeah.
Amendola, Gronk, everybody's back and healthy.
And this is probably a stupid stat, but I like Brady coming off 2 weeks rest here. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game, even though it's in Carolina. I still like Brady this week, so I'll probably roll with Brady as hammered down.
And you know, another thing concerns me, like if San Diego goes up 2 touchdowns on Miami, then you know they're going to run the ball.
Then they're going to run the ball. And Phillip Rivers, I think I was reading since like week 4, he hasn't thrown more than 2 touchdowns in a game, and a lot of those games he only threw 1 touchdown. So send Rivers to the bench, and I'll roll with Tom Brady. I'll go back to my man crushes.
Ride the hot hand.
Ride the hot hand.
Never leave the table on the heater.
As Hammered Down so eloquently put in his video, that's my man crush, Tom Brady. So I got to continue to roll with the guy. And on the other side, like you said before, Chris has Jordy Nelson in there with Scott Tolzien throwing him the ball. Wes Welker becoming more of like the second to third option in that offense. And Fitzgerald just not having a good year. I'm going to take me. You got a prediction?
I'll go Optimus.
Okay. Your game? You got fresh legs.
NBE 1.
That's all that needs to be stated here.
Needs to be stated.
Boy, Fresh Legs really mixed up the lineup this week. He's got Stephen Ridley. He went out and got DeAndre Hopkins, threw him in there. He also put Bobby Rainey in.
He's going to get smashed. He's going to get absolutely smashed. Jamal Charles is going to have a monster game against Denver.
Is he going to?
Johnson's going to have a monster game against Pittsburgh.
Is he going to lose worse than he lost to Hammer Down in NHL 14 on Sunday night?
I don't know if anybody can lose that bad. It was like a clinic. It was like a scoring clinic that he placed against Fresh Legs on NHL.
Fresh Legs lost 9-3 in a hockey game.
And those 3 goals were like, gimme goals like at the end of the game or something.
I think Fresh Legs put the controller down. Or, I mean, Hammer Down put the controller down.
I think the first period was 5-0.
So is that
a glitch, though. It was just a glitch.
That's what he claimed. It was a
PlayStation glitch.
So if you win this week, would it be a glitch? If you win this week,
probably the computer probably messed up counting the numbers or something.
Based on these new lineups and Zach Stacy on bye, I'll roll with them with MBE 1 this week. Obviously, you're going to take yourself. You said.
Obviously.
Okay.
I'm going to go against myself.
Okay. Not only that, I kind of need Fresh Legs to lose here. I'd like to see him to go go to 5-6. Just throwing out my personal opinion. ABC against El Canudo. Now, this is a game that
El Canudo
is 4-6.
If you win, I'll give you $7.
Is that weekly?
No, just for this game.
Just for this week?
$7.
Will it be the $7 whole you'll pay him, or $1 a week?
I will give him a $5 bill and 2 $1 bills if he wins.
Okay. So a little extra incentive for El Canudo this week. I'm going to go with ABC this week. I'm just going to go with Peyton Manning.
I'm going to go with El Canudo just because I want them to win so bad.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for them as much as I'm rooting for my team. So,
like they have Andre Ellington in the lineup. Andre Ellington just doesn't get the ball enough. He's clearly the better back out in Arizona over Mendenhall, and they just refuse to give him the ball. So I applaud El Canudo for putting Andre Ellington in the lineup because he's definitely the better back.
To Dobson.
Maybe.
Who's he got there? Dobson.
Steven Jackson. Steven Jackson's one of the biggest busts.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. I'd put in Dobson for Ellington in this situation, but
that's his lineup, right? And then ABC runs out there, the 2 Eagles receivers again against the Redskins, which is most likely the better play because Washington's defense isn't all that good, although they are playing better.
Well, I don't know because Nick Foles had a great game. I picked him up. He had the worst game ever. Then the next week or 2 weeks after that, after he came off his concussion, had his best game ever. So I guess he's in for a shitty game,
right?
Which I'm hoping.
But you need ABC to lose here and you to win, obviously, because you want that 1 seed,
right?
And then El Canudo's at 4-6, absolutely in need of a win here. We're falling out of playoff contention.
They need a win. Okay. Maybe they can get Kev to make a video for their team, pump them up a little bit or something.
From the Hammer Down studio?
Hammer Down Studios.
Next game up, we got the Fleeners against double tight end set. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a real close one. I'm going to take double tight end set.
Yeah, I mean, they're solid. I mean,
I think the Fleeners, this is the week they lose.
Especially, I mean, I don't know. KC's defense is the top defense right now.
Right.
Can they stop Peyton?
I just think Andy Dalton stinks.
He does. He's another one that should be force-feeding A.J. Green a ball, and he barely does.
Yeah. I mean, the Fleeners have just been the walking
I don't know. Andrew
wounded.
looked pretty bad last week.
Well, they got Romo on bye, so they really don't have a choice here.
Right.
So double tight end set's going to go for that Thursday night lead again.
And Peterson versus Seattle defense.
Yeah. So
you got your top guys are facing tough defenses.
Although Seattle, their weak point is stopping the run. They can stop the pass, but a lot of guys have shredded them. I believe Mike James had a big game against them. I'm missing somebody else. Oh, Zach Stacy had a big night against them on Monday night. So I have faith in Peterson, but I think double tight end set gets the win here. Pierre Garcon just continues to roll against the Eagles. There's nobody in that Eagles secondary that can stop Pierre Garcon right now. And talk about force feeding. RG3 looks for 2 guys. It's Garcon and it's Jordan Reed.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take double tight end set.
I'm going to go double tight end set too.
Okay. So Fleeners at 6-4, double tight end set at 5-5. And then and basically this is an elimination game. Hammer Down at 3-7 and Just Shoot Me at 4-6. Because effectively, if Hammer Down wins and wins out, he'll have the tiebreaker over Just Shoot Me because they're in opposite divisions. Oh no, wait, they're in the same division. But Hammer Down needs this game. Just Shoot Me is the walking wounded right now. What do you like in this game?
I like Hammer Down.
You like Hammer Down?
Yeah. I don't think Nick Foles he probably has a decent game. I don't think he has the type of numbers anywhere close to what he put up the other week. Pierre Thomas, he's not going to have those numbers that he had last week. Brian Hartline sucks. Antonio Gates sucks.
Well, Gates is having a nice season. I'll agree with Bolden. Bolden has really fallen off the map here. That Packers defense against the Giants, that's hit or miss. And then on the other side, Hammer Down.
I don't know.
with a few guys on bye. He didn't plug in Shane Vereen, even though Shane Vereen's back. He benched Ray Rice, benched Trent Richardson.
Victor Cruz, he might have a good game against Green Bay.
Yeah. This is a tough game to pick. It's a really, really tough game to pick.
I feel bad betting on the Special Olympics, but I'm going to say Hammer Down takes this one.
I'll take Just Shoot Me. And I'm going to say, even though I poo-pooed all over the guy earlier, I think Eric Decker has a big game on Sunday night. I think they double Julius Thomas.
Yeah,
he'd probably be
the one that they go to because
because Casey's pass defense is excellent. So I think Decker's probably the X factor in that game. So I'm probably going to pin this whole win on Eric Decker having a monster game.
Yeah. I got a question. Does Dos Vetkes start the Chiefs defense this week against Denver?
Well, if we look at the matchup right now, he's got him in there.
He's got the Bills defense.
He's got the Bills defense against the Jets. And actually, when the Bills defense played against the Jets, and I believe it was in Week 3, I was looking at this. Yeah, they only had 6 points. So, even though it's the Jets, it might not be the best matchup in the world. They have trouble stopping the run, and all the Jets want to do is run the ball. So,
right, and this game's going to come down to the Chiefs defense, whether they perform well or they don't. Because Casey's offense, they're going to score.
I don't think the Chiefs have any chance in this game.
You don't really?
I don't think they have a chance in this game.
I think the Chiefs are winning. Denver just lost to Indianapolis. Indianapolis just lost to fucking... Who did they just lose to?
They lost to the Rams.
They lost to the Rams.
Yeah. And Dwayne Bowe's going to play, even though he was arrested for smoking pot.
Casey's coming off a bye.
So you think they're ready for this game?
I think Peyton's still a little shook up with his
bad ankle.
And the Chiefs are going to get at him. And I don't know how many hits he can take. I'm actually leaning towards the Chiefs this week.
All right. Well, you heard it here. Matt's got the Chiefs. I don't see any way that the Broncos lose. So that's it. That's the podcast this week. We'll see you all next week.
Peace.
Peace out.
Da-na-na. Da-na-na.